How wonderful to have Julie Hirt here. She came all the way to New York City for the dog and cat film festivals with two of her animal communicator cohorts and did some amazing readings for people at the Pooch and Pussycat Party. Julie, it was so great to have you there and to see you work in person with people bringing their dogs up to you and saying, I have a question. And you're like, what does your dog want to ask me? It was really quite a wonderful experience. When you have been at live events like that, do you usually get approached by people who understand what you do or just are dying to understand it and are baffled by the whole thing?
All of the above, all of
Right.
the above. And it was so much fun. That event was just because it was nonstop
Was.
dogs. It was really, we had Meredith, Karen, and I had so much fun doing that. No, we get a wide variety of people who have maybe heard a little bit about animal communication and or are just so much in love with their animal, as they should be, and they want to hear what their animal has to say. They're intrigued by it. Some people have a little bit more experience that maybe have done a mediumship session for themselves and then don't
Oh,
realize that you can talk to both animals alive, animals that are alive, or animals in spirit. So and that's why I like events like this, because you get to see a whole lot of different, I'll say, like, levels of awareness of this craft, if you will. Yeah. And you get to
I think
talk about it and show it more. Yeah.
craft is a good word for it because you all studied. Tell a little bit about how you can study to be an animal communicator or an intuitive. It's something that I assume one feels drawn to begin with, but then there is
Yeah.
a very specific way to tune in and train yourself. Is that right?
Yes. And actually, if you look at like spiritual teachers like Buddha, many of the Hindu deities, Jesus, they all talk about this. But our culture back in the day, in fourth century, particularly Western culture, went, nope, you don't need to do that within. It helps to have a teacher. I just, my experiences, and I've had two different teachers. And it helps to have those teachers because they hold your hand as you learn how to quiet the mind and learn how to understand when you doubt yourself, when you don't feel good enough about yourself. And like, they take you step by step in opening up your awareness of intuition as well as your willingness or allowing to hear it. And
Mhm.
that to me is the biggest part of the training. And I've used air quotes, the
Right.
training of intuition, because we, particularly Western culture, again, we don't listen or trust our intuition. And we know as women, it's an innate part of who we are. We
Mhm.
rely on it a lot. We just don't give ourselves credit for it. And so that to me is where the training really comes in, is opening that up.
You're right. Women's intuition is referred to as some sort of a like women's witchcraft. Refer to it like some mysterious, mystical, yeah, you can't really count on it, but it's there. Like
Right.
people know is there historically, socially, in
Yeah.
all kinds of cultures. So when you say trust yourself, you really are feeling and hearing or seeing images, animals, but you have to learn to believe that what you see, hear, and feel is actually happening. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the different in both tracks that I've done. So with both teachers, that's where you go step by step to go, oh yeah, okay, no, I did see that. Oh no, I did feel that. Oh, that does mean something. Because comparison also comes into the mix here, right? So I'd be a student alongside like Karen and Meredith, my podcast hosts, and they will have a different experience than I do. So I have to be mindful that I don't compare my experience to
Oh,
theirs.
wow.
It's more of a nuance, right? So if the three of us are connecting with the same animal, while yes, each one of us gets a pretty broad story, the three of us together get an even bigger story. And then our energies are all feeding off of each other with the animal. It gets to be pretty amazing and even more grounding. It's just that when we go through that training, we learn not to compare ourselves, because the animal's going to access our knowledge base, is what I call, like, all the stuff I've read, all the shows I've watched, all the music I have. They'll access that in different ways because they know exactly what they need to say they're human. So they know, okay, Julie is very keen on 80s music.
For
So they'll pull that. Whereas Meredith, like, is really good about, she too is good about music, and she also has movies. And Karen is very much based in like Chinese medicine. So they draw on what we know to be able to get to their human too. So
You're talking about animals who are alive
Both.
and
Yeah.
those that have crossed the Rainbow Bridge
Yeah, absolutely. And wild animals too.
and wild animals.
Yeah.
So it is your understanding from experience from doing this that these animals look for a way to use you as a conduit to communicate with the human who
Mhm.
so much wants to communicate with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Selectively. It's
Yeah.
hard for those of us that have had all of this sort of drummed out of us. I don't be ridiculous. I was raised as an atheist. So
Right.
for
Yeah.
me, all religion is fairy tales. Sorry to
Right.
those of you who, now it's the center of your life. Good. But to me, they're fairy tales.
Hmm.
So the things that we cannot see, the things that are faith-based, are not necessarily experience-based in terms of
Right.
religion. Whereas in your case, in terms of intuitive work and communication work, you're actually experiencing it personally. You're not
Hmm.
on faith that such a thing had happened or could happen. It's happened to you.
Yeah. Yes, they will use my experiences as a way to describe. So for example, I know a lot about different breeds of dogs.
Okay.
So I will have, because I did study to be a dog trainer at one point. So I know different breeds. I know what they are supposed, like again, air quotes, supposed to be for
Right.
all this different stuff. So I will have Great Danes come through and I will see them as Chihuahuas. I don't necessarily believe that the animal is a Chihuahua. I actually ask to not know the breed because the reason
Oh.
why the animal is showing itself as a Great Dane or sorry, as a Chihuahua is because even though they are a Great Dane, is because I know enough about Chihuahuas as to describe, like they're going to use what I know about a Chihuahua to say, this is my personality. So I
Wow.
could be a Great Dane, but I'm fierce. I'm like, whatever it may be. And they're pulling little things that are up here in this database of a brain to be
Of
able to
yours.
describe who they are in a way that only I know, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, but of course, no sense because the rest of us are so disconnected from this kind of ethereal, emotional, spiritual connectivity that we're like, oh, okay, I believe you. The real proof of the pudding is when you do have a session with somebody or a room full of 100 people, as you did in a crowded bar in New York City, one on
Mhm.
one, they're asking you. Sometimes I heard them asking you, is Fifi happy? Seemed a
Mhm.
strange question. Here are these people totally doting on their dog. They take it to a party and they buy a ticket and the dog gets a great goodie bag and God knows how many other things they do or have gotten for that dog. But they still want to know, is the dog happy? And
Right.
that is really such a vague and odd question.
Mm.
You answer them because I was able to overlist or eavesdrop, if you want to call it that.
Mhm.
It was all open for anyone to listen to. You
Yeah.
give very specific answers from the dog because you're getting some kind of a specific reply from that dog in front of you, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We get it through pictures or phrases. We'll either hear or see, feel in our body. We get huge downloads. But yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool.
Is it exhausting for you afterwards? Are you
Yes.
drained?
Yeah. Yeah. After that event, which was, I think, 2 hours, right? We did
Right.
readings for, yeah. After that, we went to go get something to eat. And I remember Meredith was sitting across from me at the table and she's like, Julie, the color in your face is completely drained. And all of us felt like
Wow.
lead, like really heavy because we're operating at such a higher energetic level
Yes.
and we'll also there's adrenaline involved too, and then once that all leaves it's whoa. And yeah, there's some mediums that I follow that do the big state, like Tyler Henry, that do the big performances where they're like in front of thousands of people and they have to take like the next 2 to 3 days off to just sleep because it can be
Wow.
draining. Yeah.
So the people who do that almost in a performative way, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Are they taking questions from the audience and then giving feedback, and then the people say, "Oh, wow, I can't believe you knew that"?
The way that I've ever seen them work is that they are on the stage, and these are mediums. I've never seen an animal communicator do something
Okay.
like a Tyler Henry or the Long Island medium. They feel something, someone come through, and they start describing what it is that they're
Oh,
feeling or hearing or whatnot, and they're sharing it with the audience. And then whoever can relate to that is raising their hand And then that person, I believe, can ask a question, but I've not.
I'll be darned. So it's quite
Yeah.
different. That's like just vaguely they open themselves up like a tuning fork, some feedback. In your case, you're being asked very specifically about
Yeah.
individual animals. Meredith on my show, Exotic Pets,
Mm,
because I want the people who have untraditional pets to also feel that there's communication that can take place and that their relationship and desire for more communication, especially with perhaps less communicative animals like a snake or an iguana or a turtle, that there's value in that too. And she talked about finding a particular tortoise named Riley 4 different times. Riley is obviously a runaway,
yeah.
but allowed herself or himself to be seen by Meredith.
Mhm.
But I also know that Anne Marie Sawicki, who used to be once a month the animal communicator on Cat Chat when I was on Sirius, would never do lost animal work. First of all, we only had 5 minutes a person because I
Yeah.
wanted to get as many people a taste of what an animal communicator is like. And by the way, anybody who's listening to this and thinks, that's really intriguing. I never knew what happened to Fifi because I was a kid and Fifi just disappeared one day and no one
Mm,
ever told me. So you can find Julie at Julie Hirt, Juli. Hirt is HIRT dash intuitive.com and have private sessions and work with her, whether it might be in person, depending on where you all are, or Zoom, or perhaps telephone. I guess those are your main ways. But
yeah.
she wouldn't do lost animal work because it was
Mhm.
either not rewarding, not successful, or too time consuming. What are your thoughts on that?
I think personally, I think animal communicators can be incredibly helpful in helping in locating lost animals. I have done some and have had success. And I always think of this one dog that I worked with, a group of women. They were not the dog's humans, but they
Okay.
cared about this dog so much that they banded together and they knew me. And so the five of us were for 2 whole weeks, were tracking this dog. And we ended up, it was so cool because at some point she's okay, I'm ready. And I told them she's ready, you got to go here. And she was sitting and
Oh,
waiting for him.
stop it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild in a
The
good way.
dog said to you, I'm ready after
Yep.
2 weeks of you
Yeah.
trying to get some communication spiritually, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
She
Her
said, I'm
owner,
ready and told you where she, or let you see where she was.
yeah, her owner had passed and
Oh,
she is being cared for by someone she wasn't too keen on being cared for by. So she did what she called a walkabout and in the middle of winter in Wisconsin and
whoa.
she just wanted time by herself. So I would tell them, this is where I see her, this is where she is. And they would leave food and check in on her. And then one day she said, I'm ready. I'm ready. So I'm going to be
God.
here. Drove up and there she was. And she's okay. And we still keep in touch. I talk to her from now time to time. But I will say that the hardest thing though for me personally about finding lost pets, and it's not something I typically will do. I will do it
Right.
on a case by case basis because the emotions are so high on the
Mm,
human side.
yes.
Animals have reasons for doing what they do. We don't necessarily allow for those reasons. Understandably, we've been taught we are the superior species.
Right.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't agree with that at all, actually. Anyway, but we're dumb if you think about it, but we don't have to go there. Anyway, but
We have opposable thumbs. That's like the best thing we've got.
yeah, yeah. And even then it gets us into a lot of trouble.
Good
But
point.
it's really that it can be super time consuming, which that's not necessarily such a thing. It's just more the emotions are so high. And when our emotions are so high and we close our energy off and wanting it so badly, many times we're shutting down that. If you think about ET had that heart light, we
Oh,
shut down that heart light and the animal can use that to come home. So but to get a person who's not maybe into animal communication to calm down, hold space, all the
right.
things, and also accept that there may be reasons and maybe the animal's lesson with that human has been completed. And so they've gone to do the next thing we don't like any of that. So
Right. It's
at
out
the
of
end,
so
it
out
can
of
be
our
hard.
control.
Yeah.
But it is really intriguing, especially to the doubting Thomases, if you will. Really intriguing that intuitive and an animal communicator can find things, can give us information that could not be made up. It's not
Right.
like you went on the person's Facebook page and looked up that the dog used to wear a green plaid coat.
Oh
It's
yeah.
there's no such thing.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
it freaks me out all the time. I'm always in awe. Every single session I end up laughing.
really,
Oh yeah,
really,
because I'm like, this is yeah. And I think being in that state of awe actually helps me.
yes.
Yeah, like there was one woman whose dog had passed, and he kept saying, I want lavender. I want lavender. I want lavender berry. Wherever you're going to put some of my ashes, I want lavender. I want you to be in lavender. I kept saying it. She said, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that at all. And I know to trust the animal. I've learned that too. Whatever they're saying, go with it.
Okay.
Because I don't know what it means. And
Right.
she said, I don't either. So I'm like, okay, just think about it and then let me know. That night, she emails me. She's like, oh my God, I used to call him my lavender boy.
Oh
And she
my
had
goodness.
forgotten.
Oh, that gives me a chill.
But it's that
Oh,
awe and that, oh
yeah.
my gosh. So when that happens in a reading, like this is the weirdest thing. I don't know what, like sometimes they'll show me pizza crusts because they love that. And I'm like, not every dog gets pizza. Oh yeah, lots of them do. But it's this whole, I'm like, okay. And
Many
it just,
dogs show you pizza crust as a
oh yeah,
thing they
because
would like some more of.
yeah, or that's the thing they miss on the other side. I
Oh,
miss
come
getting some
on.
of mom's pizza, or they'll show me a whole pizza, or they had a favorite toy that was pizza. I don't know what it means. The
Oh
human
my
has to say what
God.
it means, but oh yeah, it cracks me up
Well,
all the time.
dogs on
Or
on urban streets. My sister's dog used to what she called Hoover the sidewalks of New York because there were always pizza crusts and often a bit of a hot dog bun and
yeah,
maybe a chicken bone, if
sure.
there was a Kentucky fried kind of thing somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And they got all that delicious stuff off the sidewalk.
Oh
And
yeah.
people do offer pizza crust. It's not a bad treat for a dog.
No, not at all.
It's quite
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
When you get these messages,
Mhm.
afar, if you will, or if the animal is still alive, the important thing for you is to simply hear it and repeat it.
And don't interpret it. We are the teacher that Meredith, Karen, and I have in common talks about raw data. So so if I see something, I describe everything I see. Meaning like they're sometimes showing me like what would be like a picture, or they may show me a little video. I see this animal. He is brown. I see it on a snowy field. I see a wide open space. I see tree. Like I have to describe every single thing as raw data as I see. And then if I hear something, I hear your animals say, or I hear the phrase, or I hear this sound, like the sound of dog tags, whatever it may be. I just
Right?
have to say what it is I'm experiencing in the truest raw form of data, if you will. And that'll give space for the human on the other side to interpret what that may mean for them. Because if I start to put my layer on it, it won't make sense.
So
Yeah.
if there's a snowy field and I say to you, gosh, that's where I always took Teddy. I took him in a snowy field. Did he like it? Do they then continue a conversation and you can then ask further questions of the animal
Oh
relating
yeah.
to the thing that you first saw?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I would like if you came back and said, "Oh my gosh, that's where I used to take him. How, did he like it?" I would actually phrase the question, "How did you feel about it?" Because I want to
Right,
take like our emotions or our interpretations off the question and allow him to
right.
have that whole space to
Yeah,
share.
because we're so judgmental. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you
Yeah.
wish you could have stayed longer in the field? That's really
Yeah.
not what the dog's experience of it is.
No. So if the human, like when you were saying before at the party, when people would say, are they happy? We would open up we call it opening up the question, say, can you share with us how you feel about your life with your human?
I
Or
see.
something like that. And
Now,
let
what
them
if they
talk.
don't? What if the animal doesn't give you that feedback? Has that happened where you say,
No.
can you share with? It's never happened.
No, there's been one time where I was doing a tandem reading with another colleague of ours, and we were doing an event for a rescue to raise money for them. So I was reading with this other woman, and we were connecting with a cat. And the cat said to me, and actually I could see the cat take its paw and put it up against my forehead, and it just said, not you, her. And it only wanted my colleague Phoebe to talk to the
Whoa.
cat. It didn't necessarily want me. That didn't mean I wasn't connected to the cat. I absolutely was, but the
Because
cat wanted to focus through Phoebe, which was cool. And we thought that was
that
funny.
is
And
so cool.
it meant something to the people. It meant something to the cat's people. It
Really,
resonated. Yeah. Because they were
cat
like,
is
oh,
the other human communicator. That's
yeah,
how picky that cat was.
that's how picky that cat was. And how it was almost like the cat was when it wanted to talk, it was very specific about to whom it wanted to speak. So it was like, it was very, I want to say focused, but that's not even like the proper word yet. But
But
yeah,
that's how it came across
that's
as
how it
a
came
very
across.
bossy cat.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
people that had been its people said, "Oh yeah, that's our
Oh
cat."
yeah. Makes total sense, which made me laugh. And that's the part, that's the awe again.
So
Just made me laugh.
did you have you often had people be in tears
Oh,
of
all the time.
relief,
Yeah.
joy, even
Grief.
sadness?
Oh yeah. All the time. Yeah. I actually do a grief support session to give the human more space to cry, share how they're feeling. The animal coaches provides comfort, talks with them, shares with them how they're still sending signs, how the human
Really,
can still connect with them, gives them homework, if you will. Hmm. Yeah,
really. So they want their human who's grieving for them to believe that they're still connected, that if they feel their presence still, it's really there and helps
yeah,
them to navigate the grief with a belief system that all is not lost,
correct.
that nobody
Correct.
ever dies completely, which is
Exactly.
what we seem to want that more from our pets than from our humans.
Yes, which is to me the entry point for all of humanity to heal to some degree. If animals connect with people in this unconditional love way,
Right.
and it allows many of us to open up our hearts in that way, that's where they're trying to take us. How can we become a species of unconditional love too? Because right now we're not very much.
No, and also we don't feel safe to show grief or to even
Right.
feel grief. Makes you
Yeah.
too vulnerable. You don't know, it's like a bottomless pit. Oh my God, if I let myself feel that sadness, what if it's a bottomless pit and I can never stop crying? I know a lot of us feel that way
Right.
about some losses. So we're just like, I'm all right, I'm
Yeah.
dealing. But you're really
Exactly.
not dealing, you're just stuffing it.
Exactly. And it's not healthy on a variety of levels, which is what
Right.
research shows. And I would even state that to some degree, our culture is in unprocessed grief. The reason why so many things are in turmoil is because we've never dealt, at least white Western European culture has never
Right.
dealt with grief and the grief we've caused.
That's an
So,
interesting point, white Western culture, because these other cultures, which are at the moment disregarded, not in America, but by the people in America who have loud voices,
yeah,
that those other cultures, other religions, other belief systems are less valuable or not valuable at all. These cultures, whatever they may be that aren't Judeo-Christian or just Christian, because
right,
the Jewish faith has a lot of permutations that the Christian one doesn't.
right.
Certainly, Indians, Chinese, Japanese, many different cultures within them have many different religions, but grief is certainly part of it. And I won't say the deification of animals, but there are symbols of animals that are part of their belief system.
Yeah. I even look to Native Americans too.
Oh,
I,
very much.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I lived in Alaska for several years and learned a lot from the native cultures that are there. And yeah, it just
Boy,
all
are
the
they
connect.
connected to the spirit world.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, and the land and the
Yes,
animals on it and the
yes.
plants, everything. Yes, it's something we should learn from.
Yeah, rather than just
Yeah,
try to destroy it upon
right.
arrival, crush it. Yeah, that's a really good point, and we never let it permeate our society as the conquerors.
No,
We
no,
have
and to me that's the
bigger
grief.
missions. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's undescribed grief. What you can do for people and their animals is amazing, Julie, and
Oh, thank you.
I hope that having you on the show will encourage people that have ever been curious or really have a burning desire to know something about an animal they're living with, maybe adopted and don't know its background and wonder about many things, or any of the animals we've all that we've left behind when they've crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. You can go to Julie Hirt Intuitive, and I'll put a link to it in the notes to this show. And you can see that Julie is charming and very open, and you might have a wonderful time. And you certainly, whatever you feel will be a genuine feeling brought to you by Julie and by the
The animals. Yeah.
animal that talks to her. I hope that your cat or dog or your other kind of animals will want to talk to Julie. And if not, she knows other communicators who it might prefer to talk to. I'm only kidding.
Exactly.
It'll
Yes.
like. Your animal will want to talk to Julie.
Sure.
Julie, the name of your podcast, real quick, so people can listen to that as well.
Sure. It's called the Animal Communication Podcast.
That's pretty straightforward. The Communication Podcast,
Yeah.
another really interesting place to learn more about this. Thank you so much, Julie. Keep up the good work. Keep on
Thank
talking
you.
to the animals. Take care.
You too. Thank you.